The G7 and the BRICS. Both these groupings have seen a lot of articles written about them in recent weeks and months. But why is there a lot of hype between the two groups? And does it really matter? Well, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and I'll tell you why. Welcome to the BRICS versus the G7. The BRICS and the G7 are in the news for two main reasons. One, the BRICS overtook the G7 in terms of GDP when valued in purchasing power parity. This can be seen in the following graph, and it happened before 2023. This is not a real surprise and is 100% true, thanks mainly to China and India. The BRICS now contribute north of 30% of the global economy when calculated in purchasing power parity, whereas the G7 contributes about 30%. This trend is expected to continue in the following years and decades, and the BRICS have much more capacity to grow as they are all classed as emerging economies. It is worth pointing out though that in nominal terms the BRICS are still smaller economically than the G7, and when it comes to advanced technologies for various industries, G7 countries are still significantly ahead of their BRICS counterparts. But anyway, moving to the second point, why the BRICS and the G7 have been in the news is because of two. The recent interest shown by potential BRICS members to join, as well as announcements for BRICS nations to begin designing a process to conduct trade with their own currency. Now, this is definitely an interesting announcement. Establishing a new currency is not an easy task, especially with nations that are economically diverse, let alone culturally and politically. It's been a big challenge in Europe, and I have no doubt it would not be a smooth process in the BRICS either, but that doesn't mean it can't be tried. The hype with this announcement is mainly around the idea that a BRICS currency would cause the US dollar to no longer be the go-to currency for international trade, global currency reserves, and well, the main oil that is pumped into the global financial machine. There are some issues with this idea, but I'm sure most would accept any BRICS-backed currency to command a more influential role in the global economy. For now, this idea is definitely in its early days, but comment down below your thoughts on whether it will be successful or not. Okay, I know you're here for some numbers as well, so let's compare the G7 and the BRICS. To start with, population. The G7 is home to a total of 781 million people, large, but much smaller than the BRICS, which is home to 3.27 billion people. Economically, in purchasing power parity terms, the G7 is $52 trillion in size, about 75% of the BRICS' $70 trillion economy. However, if we look in nominal terms, our numbers change a lot, with the G7 being home to an economy of $46 trillion, with this time the BRICS representing only 60% of that, at about $27.5 trillion. This means that on a per capita basis, in nominal terms, the G7 is significantly better off, with a figure of $59,000 compared to the BRICS' $8,500. But GDP numbers aren't the only thing to compare. Among the Global Innovation Index, all G7 members rank in the top 30, whereas only China does in the BRICS. This is a similar story in the Corruption Perceptions Index, where all G7 nations rank higher than all BRICS nations, with no BRICS nation ranking in the top 60 countries globally. These rankings may not seem like much, but they do reveal in part how effective a nation is, how quick it is able to respond to changes socially, economically, and politically, and how effective policy changes can be. So, the G7 and BRICS have been compared. What happens now? Well, in short, nothing. This is just a comparison. The BRICS are likely to eventually overtake the G7 in nominal terms, economically, at some point in the future. this will mainly just be as a result of India and China, due to their vast numerical advantage. Then, the real question is, what kind of world do India and China want to design? Naturally, as countries get more powerful, it becomes very hard for them to not burn a few bridges. Even now, when the USA pumps and dumps an industry, which causes it to sneeze, parts of the global economy catch a cold. And a similar story will likely unfold among India and China. At least for right now, the demographic collapse in China is a perfect example. We'll all feel the pain. And therefore, both the G7 and BRICS should work together to minimize the impact of any eventual future shock. Hey everyone, drop me a thumbs in the comment section to let me know you got to the end. Do you think the BRICS and G7 will ever work together in the future? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. As always, if you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon, link in the description. Otherwise, take care. Bye.